And there we go. Good evening. Ooh, is my mic turned on? Yes, it is, I think. Evening, everybody. It's Saturday, the 14th of March, 2020. And hopefully you're all having a good evening so far. Typical Saturday night in. And for those of you that are maybe in because you have actually been told to stay in, if you know what I mean, I'm not going to say it directly, but if you've been told to stay in and you've got nothing better than to watch this video, then thank you very much for joining us, and don't forget to give the video a like on your way in or your way out, whichever. Tonight is going to be going through the discussion of, is it a good idea to buy or build a cheap PC? And also, what is the definition of a cheap PC? But first of all, let's go through and say a quick hello to some of the people that are actually in the chat already and with us this evening. So we've got Angry Doge, Skystalker, we've got Darren UK, and Welsh Tony 1, Unboxing Reviews and Guides. Who else have we got? Skystalker said, Darren, ClickTech Kev, Darren UK, Captain Meets Adventures. Wow. Captain Meets Adventures videos have been getting weirder and weirder this week. If you haven't checked them out already, then please do. And also as well, ClickTech Kev. Kev done an excellent video this week on the MSI motherboard, so definitely worth checking him out. Right click on his name and you can go to visit his channel. But don't do it now, do it later. Do it now, stay with us. Because we've got some important things to talk about tonight. We won't be talking about the human malware. So we're going to try and avoid that if at all possible, because it's everywhere in the news at the moment, and I think probably some of us would be glad to get away from it for at least an hour or so. So let's see what is going on. Let's pop out this chat so I can see what is going on and actually keep up to date. So in tonight's video, stream rather, we're going to be going through looking at cheap PCs. Now, for those of you that are regular viewers to the channel and watching the daily videos, then you will probably know already that this week I picked up what I was kind of hinting at as being an absolute bargain. Now, some of you agreed and said yes, a bargain. Some of you said other things. Some of you said some quite unkind things, to be completely honest with you, but that's fine. That's what YouTube is all about. It's all about community, comments, and all that kind of stuff, and getting a balanced opinion, whether it be good, whether it be bad, whatever it may be. If you have put a negative comment or anything, I haven't just deleted it to make it look like the video is great. I've left it in there and I've answered the questions and given my points of view as well also. So if you haven't checked that out already, then feel free to do so. But it's actually, yeah, it's been an interesting few days, especially with this little budget PC. So, looks like for those of you that don't know, there was a special offer on at a UK retailer called game.co.uk if you want to visit them, although I would probably strongly suggest you don't, for reasons which we'll go into at a later date. Also as well, for those of you that have watched the videos that I've done already, I did the kind of intro video where I discussed the actual PC itself and the bargain and the pricing and all that kind of stuff. The second one I went through, did the unboxing, and we had a look at the what was received, what we got instead of what we ordered, and also the damage that incurred during its delivery. So things didn't work out quite as intended. It wasn't all rosy and fantastic. So there is going to be a third part to this video, which actually currently we're waiting at the moment. So without putting too many spoilers in, I am actually waiting at the moment from a response from both Yo-Yo Tech, the manufacturer, and game.co.uk, who are the retailer, just to finalise a few bits and pieces. That is one of the main reasons why it isn't on the shelf behind me, it isn't here on the desk, because currently it is actually in its box as it was, waiting to see what they say what to do. So yeah, if you want to find out what happens, click on the subscribe button, which will be down here somewhere, click on the chime icon, and you'll find out what happens when I release the video in the early part of next week, as soon as I find out what is going on. So yeah, Yeah, I like that comment. Pierre Plays YouTube says, the £120 paperweight that you bought. Well, it wasn't quite that bad. It wasn't necessarily a paperweight. It did actually work. It was functional. It booted up, it posted. One thing I'm not sure if I did mention in the video or not is the Windows installation that was actually on it was Windows 1803, which is basically like a year out of date. So even though it was recently sent out, apparently, and been QC checked and all that kind of stuff, it still had a super, super old version of Windows on, which not entirely impressive when you're buying a new PC. Most manufacturers these days, if you're buying a PC, probably not some of the larger ones like the Dells, HPs, all that kind of thing, but most kind of high street retailers or specialists, what's the word I'm looking for? People who make bespoke PCs. Generally, if you buy a PC, it's probably going to have a Windows version, which is maybe a month old, if that, possibly newer. So that was a little bit disappointing. But anyway, a couple more hellos. Got Daniel Hutchinson says hello. Hello, Daniel. Pierre Plays, we just said hello to. Aletta's in the house as well. Mark MC says, if it wasn't damaged and you got what you paid for, would you have been pleased with it as a bargain? Actually, yeah, I was. As it stands, and I still stand by it, as advertised and as what I received, if it had been in A1 condition, even with the slight modifications they made to the actual specification of the machine, I actually really would have been quite happy with it. And in fact, I was kind of ready to use it as my media PC in the living room, connected to the TV, just for some casual internet browsing, a little bit of casual gaming, a little bit of Counter-Strike or Rocket League, and to watch movies on Amazon Prime and all that kind of stuff, Netflix, those kinds of things. For which, to be honest with you, that PC is absolutely perfect for. It's very low power draw, very low expenditure, everything's there, it's got plenty of storage. For that kind of device, you don't need an SSD. It's nice to have, but you don't necessarily need it. Once Windows is actually loaded up and everything's running, things like Counter-Strike, things like Rocket League, watching internet videos, catching up on YouTube, that kind of thing, doesn't necessarily need an SSD. Again, nice to have, but it doesn't necessarily need it. So yeah, I would be very, very, very pleased actually. For £120, you could do a lot worse. A few more people have joined us. We've got Ricardo, we've got After, Mark MC. So I hope you're all doing well. Yeah, so essentially it was, yeah, it wasn't exactly the smooth kind of experience I expected. And I did get in contact with Game, and I have actually taken full logs of the chat that I've had with them, and I've recorded it, etc. So there will be an update on that. And actually, it doesn't paint Game in a particularly good light. And also, it doesn't particularly put Yo-Yo Tech, the actual manufacturer or builder of the PC, in a particularly good light, which I've got to be honest with you, I am disappointed with. Being in the UK, we are a small little island. There's not a huge amount of kind of independent or UK-based system builders or manufacturers or distributors for that matter. So it would have been really nice to have seen someone pull out all the stops and actually make it really good, really special, a great unboxing experience, a great user experience, and a great customer service experience. But unfortunately, well, actually all of those things were probably pretty poor, to be fair. Again, I am waiting for Game and Yo-Yo Tech to give me some kind of input so I can kind of get their side of it as well and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit unfair of me to say these things really without getting full feedback from them. But as it stands at the moment, they've kind of left me either in the dark or in limbo. So it's kind of, yeah, it's not a great story. Yeah, so is it worth building a cheap PC? Now, for those of you that obviously, let's say, watch the channel, you'll know that I actually did do a comparable system build using bits from PC Part Picker. The irony is actually the PC that I bought is pretty much the same as the bits I've got actually spare here, which I could build a PC with. So we've got a A320 motherboard. This is an Asus Prime A320 M-K, as you can see. The board that was in the computer was actually a Gigabyte A320 M-H from memory. Processor was a slightly lower version than this. This is the Athlon 200GE. The one that actually came in the system was an A8-9600, but that was a quad-core processor, 4 physical cores. This is a dual-core processor with 2 threads. So they're in a very, very similar ballpark, and price wise, the Athlon 200G actually is at the moment a little bit cheaper than the A8, so this would be a comparable replacement. I've actually got the RAM as well. This is, well, it says Corsair 29933, but it's actually DDR 260, 60, 60, 60, 66, like a scratch record. Which actually, those two things I picked up nice and cheaply off one of our Discord users, so thank you to C McKnight for that. That was very much appreciated. But as it stands, with this motherboard, which costs about £40, these two, which cost about £50, if I take into account a cheap case for about £20, excluding the hard drive and the power supply, I'm at my £120 mark ready for that PC. So it would have been very, very difficult to actually build that PC for £120. So for that point of it, it was exceptionally good value, and you can't really fault it. What I will do now is I will just go over to the screen grab, so for those of you that actually haven't seen it, you can take a look and see what it is all about. And hopefully if I click on this one and then press number 3, that should go through to my Windows desktop screen. And there we go. So there we go. There is the that is the PC. That was it on UK Hot Deals. So it's the YoYoTech Spartan A8 Grey Gaming PC. Gaming PC, again, it's one of those kind of terms that gets banded around here, there, and everywhere. It's got the specs there, but nowhere actually in this listing, as you can see from the person who actually posted it, which hopefully this isn't too small and you can actually see it. So they go into the system specifications, etc., etc. There's all the whole layout. It's got 12-month return to base warranty, but it doesn't say anywhere there that it's actually a refurbished unit, which on the actual invoice, which I can't really show you at the moment, it did actually say, the description was Spartan A8 PC mint condition, which normally you'd only ever put mint condition if something was refurbished. And just so you can see what it actually looked like, for those of you that haven't seen the video, this is the screen from game.co.uk, as you can see in the top from the URL. This is just a direct URL. YoYoTech Spartan, A8 Grey, AMD, blah, 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 etc. And again, it doesn't say anything about it being used. Now, obviously, currently at the moment it says there, sorry, this product is currently out of stock and might be available in store. From what we can tell from Game's customer service, the unit is available in some of their retail stores. But again, it doesn't say anything in the description here that it may be a used or refurbished or repurposed machine. Nowhere at all. It says the release date of it, so it came out at the very end of 2018, so it's about a year and a quarter out of date from when it was originally released, so it's not really an ancient PC. But again, that was that's what it looked like, so you can see what it looked like. Well, hopefully you can. Now this is actually one of the bones of contention, so as you can see here from the pictures, that was what it looked like. Again, not everyone's cup of tea, but it did actually show in this particular screen, as you can see there, it did show that it had a fan in the front and also a fan in the rear. And for those of you that can see or have got a big enough screen, I just got there, you can clearly see there's 2 sticks of RAM, which in my mind would say that is a dual channel setup, which is more appropriate for Ryzen processors and Athlon processors than you'd think. It actually does cripple it quite considerably when there isn't dual channel RAM in there. So even though it came with an 8 gig stick rather than 2 4s, it did actually seem to hinder the performance. It was actually quite bad when I did the benchmarks. Sorry, just had to take a drink of tea. Thank the Lord for screen sharing. Okay, so this was my version of it. So the YoYoTech Spartan copy, and as you can see, I came out to about £300. Again, if you've already watched the video, then this is probably complete boring crap, and feel free to doze off if you wish. But I thought I would show you and see what was going on. So that's where we are with that. At the moment, it looks like it's going to be returned. Again, I don't know 100% for sure. We're still in discussions, so that may or may not happen. And hopefully I've gone back to my desktop camera. Excellent. So I can go back to this screen.
This one's delayed more than my phone.
Oh, there's a bit of delay on it. Okay, no problem.
More than my
There we go. So yeah, what do you think about it? I actually didn't think it was a particularly nasty looking PC. It actually looked the real deal. And again, for £120, there's not really a lot you can argue with. Parts wise, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, as Tony says there, it's just a shame that it was the cheapest PSU, RAM and case possible. Now actually that isn't entirely accurate. The PSU was a Cooler Master Masterbox Lite, or Master Series Lite 400, which you can actually get cheaper and nastier power supplies, surprisingly. Although the motherboard was particularly rubbish. It's basically one of these, which I have done a couple of reviews on these type of A320 motherboards, and they actually do generate a lot of interest, and people still ask the question all the time, can you overclock on it? And no, you can't. The A320 chipset is so incredibly locked down, it's actually frightening how locked down it is. You can't do anything with it. You can barely change the time on it. It's ridiculous. What's that? Oh yeah, can't say lockdown, sorry. Demonetization. So anyway, there we go. So what I will be doing still, I am going to build up my my version of the Yo-Yo Tech Spartan, which I was and still may actually use as a kind of a target machine to benchmark the two against each other to see if the 200GE, the RAM in dual channel actually makes much of a difference, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see how that goes, yeah, check out the videos as they're coming. Now also this week, videos that we've done, we did the Zytel rather, the gigabit switch, which some people actually found quite interesting. That switch actually, for me, has been brilliant. It's actually transformed the networking in here. I've actually found now I can transfer video files from one PC to another faster on the network than I can via a USB drive, which actually for me is brilliant because it means I don't have to keep on finding a USB drive, put it on there, copy, paste, paste, copy, paste, paste. Oh my, it's ridiculous. Now I can just right click on the file, send it to the appropriate PC. Brilliant. And by the time I've actually walked from one PC to the other, it's pretty much done. Absolutely brilliant. So if you're looking for any networking gear, Zytel, I'm again not sponsored by them. They haven't asked me to say this or anything. I've not even spoken to them, and they haven't spoken to me. Although they did like my video on Twitter, or
they followed you.
They actually followed us on Twitter, did they? Amazing. So they followed us on Twitter. So yeah, really good stuff. Quite impressed with that. Also, I did the video how to install the Thermaltake Contact Silent 12. Yeah, which again, quite an interesting setup on that. The spring clip design, not everyone's cup of tea again. Some people prefer the screw mechanism, but I actually find it to be very good, and it's actually a very decent cooler. Although saying that, recently Arctic have reduced the price of the Freezer 34. That's really difficult to say, and now is a little bit cheaper now than the Contact 12. So if you're looking for a really good 120mm tower cooler for most CPUs, up to about 150 watts is the max. Although if you're going for a 150 watt max CPU, you're probably best off with water cooling. But anything up to the 95, 105 watt mark, the Freezer 34 or the esports version, the Duo, really, really useful, really, really good. We did a review also of the Silverstone FireUp, the B1, the build review. Actually very good. Downside on that, the fans weren't particularly good for control for some reason. I don't know why that is. There's two cases I've had recently, or two issues I've had with fans where they've not been able to control either via DC or PWM, which is a little bit annoying. These days, fans really, you expect them to be able to be either fully controlled, set to silent, or whatever it is. So in 2020, to be getting cases or just getting fan sets where you can't really adjust that RPM down is really quite frustrating. Anyway, so we did the video on the Yo-Yo Tech Value PC. The MSI GH50 Immerse Gaming Headset, which you can see in the background up over there. Oh no, you can't see it, can you? Oh dear. There we go. These bad boys, and as you can see, I am actually still using them. This is one of these rare instances where I've actually been sent something to review, and I've actually used it on a daily basis after the review. It does happen every now and then. I do get quite a lot of stuff sent to me for review or stuff I have to send back. So to actually keep these and actually use them on a daily basis is pretty cool. And I was trying to do some video editing last night, and there's a few distractions, a few noises going on in the house. So I stuck these on, and yeah, it was brilliant. I actually thoroughly enjoyed video editing with these on. So if you're looking for some headphones, either for gaming or for video editing, then definitely worth a look. If you haven't checked out the video, you can do from the links in the chat at the moment. Yeah, which is a subtle hint for Kath to put it in the chat, if you would not be so, whatever the word is. I'm having trouble. I've been up today since about 5:30. It is now nearly 9:30 in the evening, so it's been a super long day today. So if I fluff my words and talk absolute garbage, A is to be expected, and B, I do apologise. So yeah, nothing at all has changed. That is just the way we roll. So, just looking through the comments there, Captain Meets Adventure says, I reckon it would make a good fish tank. It probably would actually, although if it's water holding abilities or anywhere as good as its kind of air tightness, then it's not going to be great, because especially with the dents in it. Ghost Seller says, I would take off the Windows because Windows is free. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, I will take that into consideration. Darren UK says, for £120, yep, great, with Windows 10, 400 watt. It is actually a really good deal. It's just a real shame that it wasn't executed in a slightly better way. And I would actually say, if it wasn't for the fact that I kind of had the equipment or parts here or extra PC stuff here that I can use, I think I'd be more inclined to try and fight to keep it. At the moment, I'm kind of 50-50. If it has to go back, it has to go back. I'm not particularly bothered. But I think if I didn't have other PCs, or if I had no PC at all and it was like kind of the only thing I had, yeah, I would be kind of making more of an effort to try and keep it, or maybe get a reduction on it. At the moment, like I say, I'm still kind of in discussions. I haven't asked for a partial refund or anything. I'm waiting on them to see what they want to say. So, yeah, there we go. Matthew Day says the 200G is Zen core and the A8 is the old FX core. So it is really a 2-core 4-thread. Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, if you look at it like that. So Cash put the link in. Excellent. Phil Dennis. Good evening, Phil. How are you doing? He says, hey Mike, what software do you use for video editing? I use Adobe Premiere. It's one of those things, a lot of people don't like using Adobe Premiere because it costs a lot of money. And to be fair, it does. But the really good thing about Adobe Premiere is it gets updated almost every week at the moment, it seems. The subscription model isn't to everyone's taste, but saying that, it's one of those things that if you are video editing for profit or for kind of business use or whatever, you can claim back those costs. So yes, it may cost you £360 a year or whatever it costs now, but it's one of those things that you can claim back against your tax. So it doesn't really cost you anything if you're a legit person. Sorry?
It's only £1 a day.
Yeah, effectively it's £1 a day. Most people spend that on a coffee. So to have the entire Adobe suite for the cost of, well, less than the cost of half a cup of coffee a day, I think is actually pretty decent. Oh yeah, Kath's already answered that. Skystalker says, did the company get back to you, Mike? Sorry, was AFK. They've got, well, we've had discussions and it's kind of in limbo at the moment. So I'm waiting for, it'll be Monday now, until I can get back in contact with them and see what the actual deal is, what is going to happen. Welsh Tony says, I couldn't get on with Premiere Pro. Now actually I was of the same thing. When I first started off, I was using some kind of free piece of software. I can't even remember what it was called now. And it actually was quite easy to get into. NCH Video Link, or Video Pad, I think it was called. Yeah, NCH Plus Video Pad. You can look it up. It's a pretty horrible, janky piece of software. And it looks like it came out of the 1990s, but it actually worked and it was quite easy to use. It wasn't too bad, but it did get to the point where it was a little bit limiting on what you could do, transitions and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was kind of time to kind of grow with the channel a little bit, so I went with Adobe Premiere. And at first I was sat there in front of the Adobe Premiere screen. Now for those of you who've done video editing before, you'll probably know what this feels like. The screen fires up and you're expecting all this kind of graphical stuff or this GUI to kind of help you out or to kind of push you on your way, and it's just panels everywhere, and you look around and it's like, right, okay, Wow, what do I do now? And it fills you with fear, especially if you're doing it for a living or trying to make a living, whatever, or you're time sensitive. Because you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I cannot use this. I do not know what I'm doing. So if you're in a rush, your instant gut reaction is to go back to what is familiar. So you fire up your old video editing program or use Windows Movie Maker or something like that just to get the job done. But all I would say is for Adobe Premiere, the good thing is because it is so widely adopted both in the industry, amateurs, semi-professionals, all that sort of stuff, it is widely recognised as being the de facto standard for video editing. I suppose Sony Vegas is probably the other one as well, and maybe Final Cut. But you can guarantee if you type into Google or YouTube, how do I blah 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 in Adobe Premiere, there'll be video after video after video, and some of them will be rubbish, some will be very easy to understand, some of them will clear things up straight away. So by gradually chipping away at it, I found myself to be like really proficient now with Adobe Premiere for the basic tasks that I needed to do. If I needed to learn more, I'd probably go into it and do things like After Effects, that kind of stuff, but I don't really need it. So for me, edits, fades, time synchronization, all that kind of stuff is very much second nature to me now. So sticking with it is actually, I found it to be really good.
Well, some points at the beginning we did kind of, if you didn't use it for a few days, you did forget, didn't you?
Yeah. Pierre Plays YouTube says, I can't get on with DaVinci. I wanted to really get on with DaVinci because the core of my being, I am a tight person. I do not like spending money. Kath's like, yeah, he's like that. I am super, super tight. I don't like spending money unnecessarily. And it really, really hurt me to have to pay that money to Adobe. It genuinely did, even though kind of like it's money that I would have paid in taxes or whatever anyway. But because DaVinci is available and can be used for free in its kind of slightly more limited variants, not being able to get into DaVinci in the same way that I did with Premiere. Maybe if I'd have given it more time, I would have done okay. But anyway, let's get off of that subject. Pierre Plays YouTube says, has anyone had any experience of the MSI branded RGB fans? I wish I had, because I would put them in my PC behind me. They sent me 3 with the controller for free for my new build, but not sure how good they are. Yeah, I can't answer that, I'm afraid, sorry. Ghost Adder says, Filmora is probably the best free video editing software. Okay, that's one to look at. Captain Meets Adventures, thoughts on Microsoft and Sony admitting that you may need to upgrade TVs to use new games consoles as older HDMI sockets may have problems. Yeah, that is actually going to be one of those things which is going to eventually start biting everyone. It's very similar to in the UK where we went from terrestrial TV to digital TV, where a lot of people had to buy separate decoder boxes to enable them to receive digital channels, especially as they started shutting down the transmitters. So it isn't really any difficult. It isn't really any more different from that. The HDMI specs, more so now, is probably more because of DRM content control, because of everything being more and more digital. So to prevent any kind of file sharing or any distribution of rights, all that kind of stuff, or recording of TV screens. I think that's another issue actually, because the HDMI socket's not supporting the latest standards. There may also be problems for streamers and also for people who record games, because the game recording software or game recording hardware, such as the HD60s, Elgato cards, all that kind of stuff, probably aren't going to work straight off the box with the new PlayStation and Sony consoles, which is going to be another thing which is going to piss people off, to be fair. Let's see. Right, I'll have a look at the those questions shortly. Well, oh yeah, Yo-Yo Take PC broken. So yeah, that's it. That's all the videos for the week. Now coming up next week, we've got some really cool videos which have been done, made, edited, and are ready to be transmitted live and direct to your television or mobile screens. Well, not live, but you know what I mean. So
Partially live.
On the kind of the tail end of this cheap ass PC building stuff, and is it worth it? Which we'll get onto in a little bit anyway. Actually, Rio Toro, I had a long conversation with Rio Toro, as I said, I think in the previous stream, and this week they sent me some goodies. So we've got 2 cases, one which is a ridiculous budget PC, which is actually less than £20 in the UK market, which is going to be the CR100BE, which you can quickly Google if you want. The video will be released shortly, so you can see what I thought of that. And actually, it was a bit of a blast from the past. I had some fun with that. I actually really enjoyed making that video, and hopefully that comes through when you actually go to watch it. But there is also another variant of the 100 base chassis, which is the CR100TG. Now, this is the one I think you guys and girls are probably going to be most interested in. Now, this case is high airflow, liquid crystal RGB looking front panel, ATX form factor, nice dark tempered glass, radiator mounting points for the front and the top, 240mm, removable vents for for filtration, all that kind of stuff. £35, including VAT and shipping and all that kind of stuff in the UK. £35 for a tempered glass RGB case with airflow. This, I think, is going to be one of those things that if it kind of meets, or if it kind of finds that mainstream market, it's going to sell like hotcakes. If you look at the other previous cases that were kind of really kind of good sellers, Cudemaster Masterbox Lite 3.1, not great. The Q500, Q300, the Masterbox 5, all those kinds of things, they were a little bit more expensive, but nowhere near as good as the CR100, is it CR? Yeah, CR100 TG. Absolutely phenomenal case. Again, the video for that will be coming out earlier in the week, so make sure you check that out. So if you're in the market for a new case, whether it's to rebuild like an on-old PC or stick cheapo bits in, just a box to put stuff in, the CR100B is going to be right up your street. If you want something a bit more flashy and you want something with, honestly, the most beautiful RGB front panel I've ever seen on a case for £35, it's just ridiculous. It genuinely is. If you look at any of the kind of online promotional stuff for Rio Toro, for the CR100TG, it doesn't do it justice. It really, really doesn't. The front panel RGB, when I talk half about it, it's like, have you seen this? This is insane. It literally looks, basically there's an RGB front panel, and it looks like it's a digital LCD screen. The flow is absolutely beautiful. It just looks completely different from anything else on the market. So yeah, that's going to be a really, really nice review to check out, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I did. There's one or two kind of slight little things which I'd like to have seen changed, but again, £35 for a tempered glass RGB case. Actually comes with a fan as well, so you get a fan as well. But yeah, absolutely insane. What else we got coming up in this week? Oh, another little video. Someone was discussing on our Discord forum, which you're all free to join, of how to actually get your Windows license key. Because obviously, back in the day, you'd get your Windows key on a little sticker and it'll be stuck on the side of the PC. But these days, you don't get anything. You get a digital license, and if you're lucky, you get a USB stick. But generally, you don't get a certificate or a license key, actually a physical one at all. So if you're reinstalling Windows, or God forbid, something goes completely wrong and you lose your operating system, you have to do a reinstall from scratch, how do you get your license key? If for some reason the digital license doesn't recognize your PC, how do you get your license key available to you so you can use it? So I made a quick video. There's a couple of little command lines you can run, and also a script which you can run, which will actually give you your full Windows license key. So then you can either do a screenshot of it, save it somewhere, print it out, put it in your motherboard box, whatever you want to do with it. But I've done it loads of times now where, because I've got quite a few PCs in the household, we've got Angels George, Front Room PC, Cas PC, my PC, Stream PC, laptop, etc, etc. There's loads and loads of PCs, and all of them have got obviously different license keys. And it's quite often it's hard work. It's like, oh, which license key have I used on this machine if you're doing a reinstall? So to actually have your license key, print it out or put it somewhere safe, write it down on the box or whatever, really, really useful stuff. So I've made that video so you guys can get your license keys. And obviously, if you don't have a license key, feel free to visit premiumcdkeys.com with the special offer code MU5 and you get 5% off your Windows license keys. Sorry, shameful plug, couldn't help it, had to do it. And what was the other one?
Projector.
Oh, that was it. How did I even forget that? The last, well, not last, another video we got coming out next week is for a, surprise, surprise, a 1080p native projector Hooray! I haven't done one of those for a while. Now, this was a new company. They've reached out to me and they said, Mike, we've seen your videos for projectors. We quite like them. Would you like to review our projector and see what you think of it? I'm like, okay. I don't really need another projector, but I suppose there's people out there in the market. So we took the projector. Now, this is a native 1080p projector, 6000 lux. The loudest speaker I've ever heard on a projector. It's like there's a boombox built into the thing. It's actually insane. Picture quality is excellent. Motion blur is very, very minimal. And even just shine it onto a crappy wall in the house, which is not been particularly well plastered, to be completely honest with you, and is covered in paint and satin matte paint. It actually looked amazing, and play some games, play some movies. Very, very enjoyable. Not overly loud fan, which is always a problem with these kind of devices, but the built-in speaker was the real kind of kicker on this, and literally it is a kicker. On even sort of 20% volume, it's actually really loud still, and watching movies on it, you don't need to plug in a separate set of speakers or a boombox or anything like that. It's all there in one package, so you just plug your HDMI cable in, or your USB cable, or your USB device even, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. So that'll be coming out this week as well. So yeah, if you're in the market for a projector, keep an eye out for that one. So let's have a look at some of your comments in here. See what is going on. Welsh Tony says, I can't live without the PS4. I built a Ryzen 7 2700 system on my channel last year and honestly hardly used it. Wow. I've got to be honest with you, console gaming has always been one of those things which I've never fully engaged with. I know there's a lot of you out there who probably dislike the fact I've said that, but I am PC Master Race through and through. Even since the early days in 1995, 96, playing games in DOS and all that kind of stuff. From that moment was the turning point. Consoles for me, always
Xbox
too slow.
was-
The original Xbox was good, and we really did enjoy that, and it was flexible. I suppose it was because the things like getting it modded, chipped, Xbox Media Center and all that kind of stuff, and letting you do those other things. But it always felt like it was lacking something else, like it didn't have a browser, you couldn't check your email on it, those kind of things. I know that's not so much a thing now. Yeah, for family time, back then consoles were great, whereas now consoles seem to be a very kind of isolated, insular experience. So to have a console in the kind of family room is a little bit weird. I think most people now will find if there is a console in the house, it'll be on a little dedicated TV somewhere, or in the bedroom connected to your own TV, and you probably spend hours and hours in there on your own, with your headphones on, talking to people around the world somewhere, and completely isolating yourself from the rest of the world, which is fine if that's what you enjoy doing. That's absolutely cool. But I just find that consoles now are very much a kind of, almost like a one-trick pony. They play games pretty well. You can use them for the internet, although it's not particularly good. But that is basically what they do. They're just expensive games machines. Whereas a PC is super, super flexible. You can do anything on it, plus play games. Anyway, that's my opinion. Where are we? Welsh Tony says he wants a Mac so he can try using their video editing software. I've actually never tried that. I would quite like to have a go at that myself, actually. Can't see anything else. Right, okay, so one of the viewers is asked a question, and that was, is this PC good? It's a really difficult thing to do when someone says to you, is this PC good? Because good for a lot of people can mean a lot of different things. So his name's Jake, and he sent a PC part picker list, and I said last night, I'm a little bit busy, but do you mind if I use it on the stream tomorrow night so we can go through it and you get some feedback from the rest of the people in the stream to see what their opinions are? And he said, yeah, that's cool, no problem at all. So what I thought would be nice if we have a quick look through Jake's listing on PC Part Picker, give some constructive advice, and maybe if there's any parts on there that you guys have used or you think should be used, then feel free to get involved and let us know what you think. I've had a very, very, very quick look at it. I haven't looked at completely in compatibility, but from what I can tell from my brief glance is everything on there looks pretty decent. So let's go over to that now, and we will have a look and see what the deal is. If I can get this to work. So let's have a look. Which one do we want? Number 3. So hopefully that should have gone through now. So we should be on my Windows desktop. Is it on there, Cav? No, it's on there now. Okay. There we go, the on screen's there. So there we go, there's Jake's PC build, Jake Hand 14, and this is his saved parts list. So immediately the first thing that flags up is the compatibility warning. So as you can see here, warning, these parts have potential issues or incompatibilities. Estimated wattage, 419 watts, so that's pretty decent. So let's take a look at this in a little bit more depth. So Ryzen 5 3600X, 3.8 GHz, 6-core CPU. Now these prices, I'll be completely honest with you, I have not been following the American prices and their equivalents. So if the prices are completely way out, then please do let us know in the comments. But from what I can tell, these look to be pretty much round about what I would expect. Again, in America, you do get some fantastic bargains, and also the AMD have just released a batch of price cuts on the 3000 range of processors. So you may find this dropping very recently. So do take the price in with pretty much a grain of salt at the moment, especially for those of you obviously outside of USA at the moment. So anyway, processor, yep, fantastic, can't really fault it. Now, this PC is mostly for gaming from what I think the discussion was. I didn't go into too much detail on what else is going to be used for, but realistically the Ryzen 5 3600X is going to be fine for pretty much anything you want to do. If you're doing a bit of streaming as well, the 6 cores, 12 threads is going to be useful. If it is going to be gaming and streaming, then maybe the Ryzen 7 might be an option if the budget will allow it. So moving on to the cooler, GameX GT, again, great tower cooler. Price-wise, couldn't really comment on that, but I think that's pretty much around the right sort of price. Now, motherboard-wise, the MSI B450 Tomahawk Max, fantastic board, really good VRMs, possibly the best, if not one of the best B450 based boards. I suppose the Pro Carbon AC would be the one that would take it, if anything, but that would probably add another £20 or so, or $20 to the price. But the Tomahawk board, yep, pretty much legendary status within the community, so don't see any problems there. And I think that's actually where we're getting this issue here. So let's see details below.
Is the memory on the motherboard list of compatibility?
I haven't checked that yet.
QVL.
So warning, some AMD B450 chips and motherboards may need a BIOS update prior to using Matisse CPUs. Upgrading the BIOS may require a different CPU, blah, blah, blah. So we know at the moment that because the board that's been chosen is the Max version. So the Max version of the Tomahawk boards have the BIOS flashback feature. I know particularly on the Tomahawk boards. Some of the ones lower down the range, the B450-A Pro doesn't have the flashback feature, but it does have the Max BIOS. So the Max BIOS essentially encapsulates all of the latest and greatest of the 3000 series processors up to the 3950X. So board-wise, we're not going to have any issues there, so the compatibility warning isn't necessary. Now, memory-wise, the APG Spectrix RAM, 16 gigs, 2x8, the DDR3600, that could be a potential issue. The Tomahawk Max board, although technically can support up to DDR 4133, I believe, maximum overclock, it's not guaranteed. So definitely worth checking the RAM on the motherboard compatibility list to see if it is actually on there. If it is on there, fantastic, and it'll give you the rated speeds. It may well work at 3600 straight away. I would say it's more likely that that will probably run it probably DDR 3400. It may well do the 3600. I've got to be honest with you, I haven't tried a Tomahawk Max, but I would presume that it would do probably 3400, maybe 3466, something like that. So ideally, you'd need to check that, see if it's on the hardware compatibility list. Seagate Barracuda compute, 2TB, yep, great choice for mass storage. Seagate Barracuda drives generally tend to be very good. The APG Spectrix RGB NVMe, again, pretty decent choice. Again, can't really comment on the pricing, and bandwidth wise you can have no problems with that at all. That would be great in the NVMe slot on the board, which is fully supported. graphics card, NVIDIA RTX 2060 Super. That is a really good choice, although I would say either the Super, well, the Super is going to be good. The Super is essentially pretty much a 2070, give or take. So you could use that. Again, you could use the EVGA RTX 2060 KO edition. If you're into streaming or video editing, that might be the better solution because of the enhanced or cut down 2080 chip which is used in there. It's not going to give you such the grunt, actually horsepower wise for gaming specifically, but the other card may give you the edge for video editing and content creation. So yeah, the 2060 Super probably is a very good match for that processor. Bitphoenix Saber, I've got to be honest with you, I've never used this case at all. So if anyone has used it, let me know. We'll have a quick look at that actually and see what the deal is. That's just quite a nice looking case. Again, cases are very, very kind of down to the individual. Some people may love the design, some people may not. But actual physical size wise and compatibility wise, you're going to have no problems there. It's going to fit that graphics card easily. Yeah, no problems there at all. Power supply, EVGA 650W, 80 watt gold, gold certified semi-modular, great power supply, no problems there. Arctic P12, PWM, no problem there. You've got 4 fan headers actually on the Tomahawk board, so even if you wanted to plug them in all individually, you're going to be pretty much bang on anyway. They have got PWM sharing technology, PST, so you can daisy chain a couple of the fans in slightly remote locations if you wanted to. So yeah, good choice there, no issues. Nice and quiet actually, decent fans, we like those. And these are the P series, so they're a little bit more pressure optimized than the previous F version, which were just the kind of general purpose fans. Monitor wise, now this is one that Dell monitors always get very good reviews. This particular model I'm not entirely sure of, but it's a Dell, it's 144 Hz, 1080. Some people may find 1080p at 27 inches to be a little bit on the kind of blocky side. Depending on how old you are and what your eyesight's like, you may actually benefit of possibly reducing your frequency and upping to a 1440p at that particular size, or maybe consider dropping down to a 14-inch version and potentially saving a little bit of money, which will look better for 1080. But again, that is down to the individual. Some people notice it, some people don't. I actually run my monitor, which is a 32-inch at 1440p, and to me it looks absolutely fine, but I have got old man eyes, so there is that to it. Keyboard, Razer, yeah, I've not used that one, but again, keyboards are a very, very individual thing, but I don't see any problems at all. There's certainly no compatibility issues. And the Logitech Z200s for a kind of a relatively budget soundstage, pretty decent, can't go wrong at all. For that price of $1,500 for that entire setup, obviously a lot of it's going to be taken up with the monitor, the graphics card and the processor. But yeah, I think that actually doesn't look too bad value at all. You may be able to shop around and get slightly better rebates. Again, the USA is not my area of expertise, so it'll be difficult to say. So let's go back to the chat and let's see what you guys have been saying. Hopefully. And is it going to update? Come on. There's such a delay. There we go. We're back in the room. So let's have a look at the chat and see what you guys have been saying. I actually think that's a pretty decent setup. I don't think there's much that I would consider changing there, to be fair. Straight away, the first thing I see is M-Dog TV for gaming with 44 Hz, 24 inches best. Yeah, potentially that is essentially what I was saying. Skystalker says I would not do 1080 at 27 inches. I would pay the extra to go for 1440. Difference in cost should not be that prohibitive. I don't think it will be, no. I think the screen behind me here in the studio, that's a 1080p 27 inch. And for where it is and for the distance I am from it, it's fine. And I use that mostly for kind of creating some video content, so Windows desktop stuff. I don't use it for gaming, it's only a 60 Hz panel. But for that, for my purposes for that, it's absolutely fine. But in some instances, when I zoom in a little bit, it does get a little bit jaggy. So 27 inches really does need 1440p, especially if you've got sharp eyesight. Again, yeah, MDog makes another good comment saying that it depends on esports. If it's esports and you're looking more for refresh rates, and I suppose if you've got bigger pixels on a smaller screen, it's possibly easier to see things which are going on. So yeah, again, it'd be interesting. Actually, is Jake Hand in the chat at all? No, I've not seen it. Okay, so no problem. Tom Kashini, or is that Kashini? I may have completely obliterated that, but there we go. Says the 212 Evo would be a better choice. Now, I think the thing is with the GT, that is an RGB fan, so maybe he's going for the RGB look. Actually, that's one thing I didn't mention. The Tomahawk board, although it supports 12 volt RGB, the case I don't think does. I think it supports 5 volt RGB, so there may be potential issues there for coordinating everything together. Again, it's not the end of the world, you can get around it, but if you do want to coordinate the 5 volt RGB with the 5 volt RGB on the case, rather than the Tomahawk board, maybe consider the new and improved Pro Carbon MSI board, which is the Pro Carbon Max, which has just been announced this week and is going to be out shortly. That has actually been upgraded and now has the J Rainbow connector, which is basically 5 volt DC, 5 volt DC RGB. I was right, kind of. Ricardo says, I choose the Deepcool GameX 400 instead of the 212 Evo for one reason. I own an AMD FX CPU and the fan goes straight down on the video card. Okay, yep, go with that. What else we got? What are people saying? Pierre Plays YouTube says, I can't be bothered, and after numerous YouTube videos watched, it's not really going to be terrible, and I plan on another build in a few years. This is just a starter gaming PC. That's the spirit. There's no... I do find that quite a lot myself, that you look at bits and then you buy it and then you get a little bit of buyer's remorse or whatever, but ultimately, who cares? As long as it works, does the job, and isn't totally rubbish, then it's all good. And you can always upgrade down the line, which is something you can't do with consoles, which is why PC Master Race exists. ClickTech Kev says definitely 1440p at 27 inches. Captain Meets Adventures says, guys, like and share the stream. Thank you, Captain Meets Adventures, that was very kind of you. ClickTech UK says, I recently tried 165 Hz and couldn't tell the difference between that and 144 Hz. I've got to be honest with you, I use my FreeSync monitor, which does 75 Hz maximum, and I actually do quite fancy trying 144 Hz. George has got one upstairs, and it does. I've used it very briefly, and the responsiveness on the mouse is actually brilliant on the screen. But it's not one of those things that I can kind of say hand on heart that I need in my life. I'm quite happy with what I've got, and again, that's what it's all about. If you're happy with what you got, that's all that matters. Captain Meets Adventure says, the more views the better for the boxers community. Oh yes. MDog TV says there's not enough RGB on the build. No, gotta have a lot of RGB. And Lucas Jr. says RGB gives us FPS. Oh yes. Many FPS have been given for RGB components. That PC, before I put those RGB strips in there, was actually considerably slower.
Go faster stripes.
Yeah. It is like Go Faster Stripes. You put the stripe on immediately, you get horsepower. Pierre Plays YouTube says, Mike, I changed my case choice again. Lol, I didn't think the case would be the hardest decision. The case in a lot of cases, excuse the pun, is really a difficult decision, especially when you're looking at all these different options, lighting, style, size, paneling, etc, etc. It's an absolute nightmare. What you could do is just do what Aletta does and just buy the most expensive Lanley case you can.
No, she's Thermaltake now.
Oh yeah, sorry, Thermaltake.
Get me there.
Mark, let's see. Captain Meets Adventure says, Mike, would you ever do a tech tour? I don't even know what that means, but potentially, possibly, yes.
Is it like a house tour?
If it's like a house tour of all the tech in my house. Here we go. This is great. Saucy says, I need a gaming PC because my parents cannot buy me a gaming PC because we had got robbed and they do not have money, so I'm trying to get a free PC if someone is giving away a PC. No, but we are actually giving away a gaming DAC, which is it that one up there, Kath?
Yeah.
It is that one up there. No, I should get it off the shelf actually. Which, can people see that? They can't, can they? Because what is actually next to that is something else which we're reviewing this week, which may be of interest, and I completely forgot about it, is the Zotac GTX 1650 Super. So, for those of you who don't know, this is a 4 gig card from the GeForce range. This is effectively a kind of equivalent card, or not an equivalent, I suppose. It competes, I suppose, is the best way of putting it. This competes really nicely around the kind of £150 mark with the RX 580, sometimes the RX 590. It's a little bit swings and roundabouts, but it's around that kind of level. So for gamers, or someone who potentially is using something like this, may want something like this to upgrade their gaming build. Anyway, we'll be looking at that later on in the week. Don't know, I forgot to mention that. That's another upcoming video that we've got, so we will be taking a look at that. That was kindly sent to us by our friends over at Zotac, so muchas gracias. M-Dog says it also has the new Turing chip. Yes, it does. It does. Very nice. Also, we are giving away something today, which I should have mentioned ages ago. So if you haven't already entered, go over to our Facebook page, which Kath will link at some point after she's finished eating cheesy poofs. We're giving away tonight on the stream the Gaming DAC Pro S, which is from Sharkoon. This is a USB device. You plug it into a USB port. It's essentially a sound card on a stick. You plug your headphones in and everything sounds amazing, or at least compared to onboard graphics. I suppose, yeah, onboard graphics, HDMI audio. Yeah, that works. But essentially this is designed to replace your onboard audio solution. So even if you think you've got a fantastic Realtek 1220 chipset and everything's groovy, until you've tried one of these, you don't know what you're missing. So if you want to win that, Kath's putting the link in the chat now, so you can be in to win. We will do the draw for that a little bit later, because we love giving stuff away to you guys, because we do love you guys, and girls, obviously.
Not as much as cheesy puffs.
But we do prefer cheesy puffs more, and our cat loves cheesy puffs. Angry Doge says, "Me gusta Zotac Gaming." It's gone a bit choppy. Uh-oh. What's going on? Have we dropped any frames? Actually, I meant to check that. Oh, I'll check it in a bit. So she says, when are you doing the giveaway and how do I enter? Well, the giveaway is being done. There's a link in the comments at the moment, or it's going to be. Yep, Kath's put it in there. Oh, the link you have done is... The link doesn't work, Kath.
Okay. Sorry.
Kath's doing the link again. Our apologies. Page unavailable, lol. Same TDP. Lucas Jr. is having a conversation, and also is Ricardo, about the R5-1600AF, which actually at the moment is pretty much the best bang for buck I've ever seen come out of either Intel or AMD. That is a fantastic processor. It's essentially a R5-2600 rebadged and reboxed, and with a little bit of the kind of frequency top end topped out. So these are chips that didn't meet the initial testing phase for the original R5-2600, so they've basically been binned and are called the R5-1600 to meet the demand in the market for that processor. So again, if you're building a PC at the moment, rather than going for something like an APU, no, actually I do get this a lot. This is going to be my where I have a little bit of a rant now. I don't know what the markets are like in other countries. I know what it's like here, and a little bit of US, Canada, and some of the other markets. I often get the question, especially actually with this motherboard, people say to me, will this work with a Ryzen 3 2200G and, for instance, a GeForce GTX 1650? And what is your initial reaction when you hear that? When someone says to you, will an APU work with a graphics card on this board? immediately my mind thinks, well, why are you buying an APU if you're buying a graphics card? Save the money that you're spending on that extra features or functionality in the APU and just buy a decent chip. Now, no matter where you are in the world at the moment, I would imagine that the Ryzen 5 1600AF is going to be roughly about the same retail price as a Ryzen 3 2200G, give or take £5 to £10 or dollars. So they are basically within a kind of stone's throw of each other. Whereas the Ryzen 5 1600AF is infinitely better CPU than the Ryzen 3 2200G. And if you don't need the graphics, then don't buy the graphics. Just get a decent graphics card if you've already got it, and get a faster CPU. I don't know why people keep on asking that. It's very unusual. I know in some countries, I did watch a thing on, I think it was like Bulgaria or something, where basically they can't get any processors apart from Ryzen 3 2200G, 3200Gs, all that kind of stuff, 200G, basically APUs. APUs are flooding the market, and if you want to go to like a Ryzen 5, the prices are massively, massively jacked up. So if it's that kind of reason, then yeah, I totally get it, because that is what you can afford, that's what you get on a budget. So yeah, okay, totally makes sense. But if you've got the option in your local market to get a Ryzen 5 1600AF rather than a 2200G, and you're buying a graphics card, definitely that is the way to go. Okay. So, there we go. Yeah, someone's asking if it's the same TDP as a 2600. Yes, it is basically a 2600. It's got the same technology, same pretty much everything apart from the lettering, and although I'm not sure if it still supports Sense MI. It might do, and also the storage MI thing. Anyway, essentially, for most intents and purposes, it's the same thing. Okay, so that is working, and yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Okay, that is everything working. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we are. So I think that's pretty much wraps up everything actually. So I'll give last shout out. So if anybody wants to join the giveaway, Kath's got to finish her cheesy puffs. So you've got until the cheesy puff dust settles to get your entries in for the giveaway.
I've got to get rid of the orange fingers.
Lucas Jr. says, Mike, have you ever tried the MSI 100M case? Because for €35, it's amazing. No, I haven't actually, but I will take a look at that and see what it's like. MSI 100M, very interesting. Not seen that. Okay. What else we got coming up? So what else we got coming up in the next week's videos?
You've done all that.
I think I've done all that. Yeah, no, I'm thinking if there's anything else I've missed that I've not said about.
Still the cameras.
Oh yeah, I've still got to do the Rio Link. If you're watching any of these videos, I think you do follow us on YouTube and possibly Instagram. I do apologise. The weather in the UK has still been horrendous, and what with the human malware going on as well, everything's crazy at the moment. So I am promising, I haven't forgotten, but as soon as the weather gets slightly better, we will do the review for the cameras, which are here. I have got them somewhere.
Corsair mouse.
Oh yeah, still haven't done the review of the Corsair mouse. I must do that as well at some point. So Reolink very, very kindly sent us this totally wireless camera, security camera, which actually, the way things are going with people bulk buying and stuff, it's not going to be long until people start robbing. So having a security camera on your house at this particular moment in our human history is actually probably a really good idea. And if for some reason you have a power outage because the demand on the grid is too much, then you'll be super, super glad that you've got a solar charger as well to keep this thing running. So if it does go crazy and we get something like the Walking Dead happening, where everyone's looting and crazy stuff going on, you can record it all for when things settle down and you can do stuff. Or call the police, or become a vigilante and go round and
Or just
get your stuff back. Yeah.
Table.
Yeah, or just watch yourself falling through a table in your back garden, which I have done. Skystalker says Reolink is awesome, by the way. Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, because I remember you saying you had some of those. Pierre plays YouTube. Mike, anywhere else I can enter? I don't have Facebook. Unfortunately not. For us at the moment, because of the way YouTube is and people cloning accounts and pretending to be other people, and also the fact that on YouTube and Google for that matter, you can just keep on applying and making up new accounts and stuff, it is actually really difficult. And we did go through an instance where we were doing giveaways and people were kind of pretending to be who they weren't, cloning accounts, all that sort of stuff, trying to claim freebies, which is pretty sad, to be honest with you. But people were doing it, and yeah. So we found the only way of really doing it is because with Facebook, you generally have to be registered, phone attached, all that kind of stuff. So at least with Facebook, generally we know that whoever's entered is the person. We can contact them directly through the Facebook chat, and it does work out better. So if you don't have a Facebook account, I do apologise. It is actually pretty quick and simple to do a Facebook account if you want to. But yeah, at the moment, that is the way we're going to be doing it. We may well go over to Gleam.io at some point, but there has been a big thing with YouTube not liking people using Gleam.io on their accounts or publicising it. So we don't want to upset the YouTube gods, because obviously that's a bad thing for us, because we are a small channel and we need all the help we can get. So yeah, hopefully you understand. Alexa says the weather is stupid here as well. 2 days ago it was warm spring, today it's snowing hard. Yeah, I saw somewhere in the US today, actually on Facebook, there was someone who was chasing tornadoes. I didn't realise it was that season already. They'll be coming for your toilet roll. Yeah, we actually got the ultimate toilet roll. Went out today, and just in case the unthinkable happens. Actually, do we talk about toilet roll? No, toilet roll is not very interesting. We won't talk about toilet roll. Skystalker says, yes, 10 degrees lower than normal. Today, actually, and yesterday is probably the two more mild days. Considering we're supposed to be going into spring, I think the highs today were about 10 degrees, and the lows were about 4, which actually is still quite cold considering what time of year it is. It should be warmer by now. Alexa says, Skystalker, it's 1 degree here now. So that's not too far off where we are. Yeah, actually, Tony makes a good point there. The reason YouTube doesn't like Gleam is because you're sending people outside of YouTube. That is the same with Facebook, so I don't see a difference.
How do you message?
I think it's, well, Gleam does it all for you. So maybe we'll look at Gleam over the week and see what happens. Maybe for next week's giveaway, we will try and do that.
Have you got anything to give away next week?
Actually, yeah, I've got to work out what we're going to give away next week. We might give away some AirPods. I've got loads of AirPods, and I'm not using them at the moment. I've got too many. I ain't got enough pairs of ears. I genuinely haven't. Kath wants a pair. You'll have to join the giveaway, Kath. Right, let's do the giveaway. You finished all your Cheetos or Cheesy Dust or Cheesy Poofs or whatever they are? Okay. So if you haven't entered, it's now officially too late. You're going to have to get involved. ClickTech Kev says, the weather is lovely where my in-laws are. Shame they've shut the country. They're in Spain. Oh dear. Skystalker says, Kath gets a free pair. Okay. Angry Dutch says, oh, AirPods. Right, okay, that's what we'll do for next week's giveaway. We will be giving away... Is this going to work? Yes, it will. We will give away 1 pair of AirPod clones and 1 pair of AirPod Pro clones. So next week's going to be a double-barreled AirPod Assault. So we will do that. We'll post the links in somewhere. I may do a video update during the week, so watch the videos. There may be an update. We may switch over to Gleam. We might give it a go.
How would we advertise it on Gleam?
They got links and stuff, so you can do it.
So you still have to put it on Facebook?
Yeah, still have to put it on Facebook and all the other stuff.
Might have work to do it on 2 different
It might be.
things.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll definitely be on Facebook one way or the other.
Great.
Welsh Tony says, will we give away the game PC that was broken? Oh no, that would be terrible. Actually, speaking of which, that reminds me, Bills and Coins, who's a regular watcher, viewer, subscriber, whatever, I don't know, whatever you call yourselves out there in YouTube land. He won the AirPod Pros, and...
No, he didn't.
He did?
Oh, yeah, the black ones.
Yeah. Yeah, the Pro Pods, and he's had a couple of issues with them with his Android phone, which I never experienced because I was using on a iPhone. So he reached out to me and said, Mike, I'm having some issues, can you help me? I said, to be honest with you, I haven't used them on Android, and because I've given them away to you, I can't double check it here, so I don't have them. So Kevin from Pro Pods, actually I got in touch with Kevin, and hopefully Kevin is going to sort it out.
Right.
So I just wanted to give you a quick update on that actually, so that obviously stuff we do give away, we don't offer warranties as such, but if you do have any problems, normally the original manufacturer will get involved and they do help us out, which just goes to show that the people that we do work with, it's not kind of like just like a pump and dump, so you get your stuff and that's it, forgotten about. We do look after you guys, even for stuff we've given away, we will look after you, so if you get any issues, we'll help you out if we can. If not, we'll put you in contact with the manufacturer and they will try and help you out as well. So just thought I'd add that in there. And actually, thanks to Kev, ProPods. Appreciate you getting involved, and hopefully that issue gets resolved, sorted, whatever it needs to be. Right. Skystalker says shipping for the PC would be more than the PC. Yeah, actually, that's one thing which may be an issue because of all the kind of lockdowns. I'm not sure what's happening. I suppose it's only kind of not private, like commercial travel is being disrupted. I don't know what's going to happen about postage. So if we have to send something out via airmail to the US, Canada, or wherever it may be, somewhere in Europe, yeah, it might just be passenger stuff, but it might lock it down altogether. Who knows? We'll see. So anyway, if you win the giveaway, if you're in the UK, you'll probably be okay. If you live outside the UK, you may not get it for a little while. But anyway, let's get on with it. Right, you got it ready?
14.
So actually only 14 entries, so you've got a 1 in 14 chance of winning this time. There's 2 people that I secretly hope actually win this time, because they've been in pretty much every single draw we've ever done and never won a thing. So it'd be really nice if one of those 2 that I can think of off the top of my head actually wins something.
There's
So
a particular one I'd like.
we will see.
Does yours begin with an N and end with a B? One of them.
Yeah. Here we go. It's drawing a name. Go on, press the button. The excitement's unbearable. I can barely watch.
Come on.
Right. Oh God. I tell you what. My eyes are terrible. So from what does that say? First name beginning with P?
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? Okay, so the winner of the... Oh, there it is. The Sharkoon DAC & Play Gaming DAC Pro is Mr. Paul Donaldson. So Mr. Paul Donaldson, if you are watching the video now, or if you're in the stream, congratulations to you. You are a winner, sir. If you're not, then we will send you a message in Facebook. And that's not Paul, is it?
Captain Meats.
It may well be.
It is.
I always get confused with people when they have their aliases as YouTube, so I'm pretty sure that person is in the chat or has been in the chat this evening. So Paul Donaldson, well done. Happy days. You are a winner, good sir. So we will get those wrapped up and sent out to you. Obviously, get in contact with us. We'll get your shipping details and we'll try and get those out. We'll try and get those out on Monday. Monday should be good for us for postage, so yes, we will do that. Okay, so that is that done and dusted. Awesome. So we'll do next week. We'll give away some AirPods and stuff like that.
Peanut's gonna love it.
Yeah, hey, it's nice that all the community are saying congratulations to Paul. Thank you guys and girls. That's awesome. It's nice to not have people in there moaning saying that it wasn't me, which I know most of you take it jokingly, but yeah, it's good. Happy days. So I'm glad that's happened.
Paul does enter time and time again.
Yeah. There's quite a few of you that do enter time and time again, so it's actually nice to see someone different this time, because previous winners have been a little bit too lucky in some respects, but it is completely random, so yeah, that is the way the cookie crumbles. So that, I think, pretty much wraps it up. ClickTech says it should have been me, damn it. There's always one. Never mind. Maybe next time, Kev. Maybe next time. So that pretty much wraps things up. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Saturday evening in these troubled times that we have. With PC parts getting more expensive and the human malware going around. So hopefully you all stay safe and are all healthy and looking after each other, families, etc., etc. So we'll say a prayer for you all. Make sure you're all good. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. So yeah, watch the videos. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button, the like button, all that kind of usual jazz. And yeah, we'll catch you again in the week in the daily videos. Or if not, we'll catch you in the live stream next Saturday. So if you want to be in to win the AirPods, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Mike's Unboxing. Just do a search, you'll find us easily. Like the page and all that kind of stuff if you want to. You don't have to, that's the beauty of it. If you like the page, great. If you don't, whatever. We're not bothered. We're not about that. We just want to try and give away some of this stuff. Also, so actually speaking of giving away stuff, if you're local to the UK, or you don't mind paying slightly more shipping, if there's items that we get received here, which we just don't have the room for anymore, we'll be putting them into our Discord chat. So if you want to join us on Discord, you can go into the room that says, we need more room, and anything which we're going to get rid of, cases, it's generally the bigger stuff to be completely fair, cases mostly. But there's other stuff, I've got some motherboards which are going at the moment. There will be some processors actually kicking off soon as well. So if you want a motherboard or a processor or a case or maybe some AirPods or something, if they get listed, feel free to join us on there, and we will pretty much send them out to you at essentially what is postage costs. It's a little bit more expensive because we use Royal Mail because it's handy for us. But again, if you want it, you'll get it a lot cheaper than what you could buy it on Facebook, eBay, whatever. And it will be essentially something which is semi-famous, which has been on YouTube. So there you go. Oh, Captain Meets Adventures is, yeah, of course it is Paul Donaldson, isn't it?
Yeah, I told you that.
Yeah, Kath said it, but it's not making sense. Again, I've done too many hours today. It's my brain is all mashed up.
I told you Peanut really wanted it.
Buntu Dread says, thanks for the entertainment. Been busy soldering new caps and MOSFETs and an amplifier. So you've been just listening. Thank you very much. Awesome stuff. So Peanut's going to enjoy the amplified audio. That is it. What a perfect end to a not so perfect stream. So thanks all for joining. Catch you all again in the stream next Saturday. If you've got any comments or questions, feel free to stick them in the comments section. Join us on Discord, all that kind of usual stuff. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next week. If I could end this stream. Ever. I don't think I can end the stream. I'm going to have to stay streaming for the rest of the evening. There we go. We're off. See you later, guys. Have a nice one.